I'm Toycat and welcome back to another second channel video. So today I'm in Queenstown, New Zealand. I've really enjoyed my time here. It is so ridiculously beautiful all over New Zealand, but I am going back to Australia. Specifically, I'm going all the way to the other side of Australia because I'm heading to Perth, all the way out in Western Australia, and I'm doing so with a few flights which takes me on both Qantas and on Virgin Australia, both of the big airlines in Australia, fun fact, and I figured I'd compare them today in a pretty unfair way, but in a way that is fair in terms of price, because I have a ticket that cost me roughly 300 Australian dollars. It made me so sad to pay that much for a ticket, but to get me from Queenstown here to Sydney and then Sydney to Melbourne, and then I have a ticket that funnily enough cost me a lot less than that. I'll show the amount on screen right now, but it cost me a lot less than that, and that was to get me from Melbourne over to Perth. So yeah, even though one of those tickets is economy and one of those is business, we're going to be, and the planes are different and everything else is different, I figured let's go through the experience anyway, and maybe you'll enjoy that. But first, a quick word from our sponsor. Or to be more accurate, a word from me about the sponsor, because Skillshare is sponsoring this video. You know how cool it is when a YouTuber gets sponsored by, you know, one of the big ones like Skillshare, and I think that's cool, and I'll talk about them more later. But for now, let's go fly Qantas from Queenstown to Sydney. So this is Queenstown Airport, where I'll be spending the next hour and a half or so before my flight. Fun fact about New Zealand that is maybe true for parts of the world, but there are gates you can just board without any security, anything domestic, as long as it's a non-jet plane, I believe is the rule. But it's wacky to me that, like, one, look over there, that's how close we are to the planes, and two, that a bunch of them you can just get on regardless of any security, which, again, I mean, we've been trained to think like, wow, so insecure, but really it's just convenient. Anyway, yeah, if you are on a normal economy ticket like me, you chill in the airport. There is a lounge. I think I might be able to access a status, but you get the point. This is the experience, flying the pretty expensive, because I guess Queenstown is a expensive destination, ticket. Oh, and I realise right now up there is the lounge, and isn't this a nice little airport? I actually think it is. I think it's really chill and relaxed. Isn't that nice? And now I'm on board the 737, which is going to take me to Sydney. And yeah, just a little pro tip right here is right at the very front of the economy. There's like a wider gap between it because I guess they have to have these over here, the business seats. And isn't that a cool little thing? Look at the space, wow. Or something. I love when there's some weird niche fact that makes the seat better or worse on a plane. I don't know why. I also love the view out the window. Very fun, very fun. So we've taken off now, the view is wonderful, and something really interesting about Qantas that has never been true for any carrier in any other country is every flight I've taken so far has been wildly light loaded, like 50% maybe, so that's a big benefit I guess over budget and the other carriers maybe, is that they can afford, because they sell prices so high, they can afford to fill planes way less, maybe. I don't know if that's statistically true. And yeah, honestly, the biggest thing that helps with a good flight is having an empty flight, so thumbs up, but also thumbs down for the environment maybe. So that was a pretty pleasant flight actually. The food was even pretty good, which is surprising on any flight that's below like 8 hours or wherever you physically need to eat. And yeah, in general, they even gave me an ice cream. What a wonderful thing. In general, solid enough flight. I actually think the cool thing about Qantas that is not true of any other airline where they operate in markets that are also served by budget carriers, every single major airline that isn't a budget carrier, it's just a budget carrier with higher prices. Like if you look at the American market, American, Delta, United, if you fly them in economy, you might as well be flying a budget carrier. If you look at the UK, if you look at Europe, every single major carrier on short-haul routes is pretty budget-orientated, but in this case, Qantas was not. And I think that's at least reasonably pleasant, so yeah, what a nice thing. It's worth paying a little bit more to fly Qantas, which isn't true anywhere else in the world besides like the Middle East or, you know, Eastern Asia or whatever. So what a wonderful little discovery. So to switch from an international flight to a domestic one, apparently the terminals are really far apart, so you gotta take a bus, and there's no one else there that is also taking the bus, so that's gonna be fun. But yeah, let's head over to Melbourne now and finish this journey. So my camera totally died between flights, but yeah, now it's the next day and I'm taking Virgin Australia. Here's something fun about them. Rather than having premium entrances to places, we've got a premium exit today. That's going to be some great fun, I think. I'm really not joking, it's a premium exit because security has to be done after the lounge for some reason. So that was relatively pleasant. By the way, small little thing, but I've noticed around the world, domestic flights usually have much less nice airports, but much faster airport security, so fun fact. Also, a bunch of people looked at me very weirdly when I said that, like, so, this is what I do for you, the internet, just to show you Virgin Australia. So this is what the seat looks like today. Wow! Isn't it so much better than before or whatever? But no, super hyped about this one. It's Virgin Australia's, I think it's meant to be their international business class, but they fly sometimes on domestic routes because it's a super wide plane that makes sense sometimes. The reasons aren't clear, but either way, this was in fact cheaper, as you saw at the start of the video, as the equivalent thing that I'm taking before. And yeah, I don't know, this is one of the best types of seats you can have in the sky if you are in any form of premium cabin, because look, you get a place to lay down, you get privacy, you get a pretty decent screen, you get a pretty decent table tray. Everything's good, and I even get 2 windows. So yeah, the explanation as to why it is cheaper is because this was like a tag-on to a Singapore Airlines flight. There's code share agreements between those 2 airlines, so this is effectively a Singapore Airlines flight that isn't on Singapore Airlines, and it was only 100 more to add on this, as opposed to just flying straight from Perth. So, big benefit to me, also works out later for something else I'm doing, and also works out for price a lot better than that other flight I took. And hopefully, you would imagine so for comfort as well, because there's a lot of cool little details around here. But yeah, I'm excited to do this.
Flown in the business class suite before?
I have not.
No? Okay, I'll just give you a menu here. So that's our lunch menu today. Would you like me to give you a brief overview of your seat as well? Where everything is?
I think I just about get the seat
fine?
maybe, but
okay.
yeah.
Alright, well let me know if you have any questions, okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
Enjoy your flight.
Will do. So there's like a magic touchscreen that changes the seat to bed to relax to legit flight, and it's pretty cool. Got some juice too. 2 ridiculously tiny details, by the way, but this orange juice is some of the best I've ever had on a plane or off a plane. And second of all, I love the way they use the they use cabin lighting to make this purple kind of theme. It's very nice. Again, sticking true to the brand. Very solid. Looking forward to the next few hours over to Perth.
Before we start, please place all luggage into the overhead lockers or push it under the seat in front. This way we can keep the aisles and exits clear.
Your seatbelt must now be fastened low and tight around your hips. To fasten your seatbelt, push the 2 ends together until they click.
Place the mask over your nose and mouth and fit the elastic strap over your head. Tighten the straps on the side. If the bag doesn't inflate, don't worry, oxygen is still flowing through it. Always get your own mask first before helping others.
Why don't you jump in, mate? Ready?
Let's go. Smoking and electronic cigarettes are not allowed anywhere on this aircraft, including the lavatories. That's why they fit with smoke detectors and alarms. If something unexpected happens during the takeoff or landing, you'll need to adopt the brace position. Place both feet together on the floor, then lean forward, folding your arms on the seat in front of you and rest your head on your arms. If you're unable to reach the seat in front of you, lean forward as far as possible and wrap your arms around your knees.
If you're seated in business, lean forward and fold your arms on the tray table. Then rest your head on your arms. No, not you, mate.
There are 8 emergency exits on our A330 that your crew will now point out. They may be in front or behind you.
There are signs throughout the cabin that indicate when large electronic devices need to be switched off. And if you drop your device at your seat, please do not attempt to retrieve it. Call a crew member for assistance. You'll find more information on the safety instruction card in your seat pocket. While I'm
on board this aircraft, it is a requirement that you follow all illuminated information signs and crew member instructions.
We're now ready for takeoff. In preparation for takeoff, ensure your seatbelt is fastened, your seat is upright with the armrest down, and tray tables folded away. At this time, your window blind must be open. Leg rests and TV monitors must be stowed away. Please check that your cabin baggage is securely stowed in front of you, as the aisles and exits must be completely clear.
So did I win?
You wish. Enjoy your flight with Virgin Australia.
So I just ate and it was really good, and then I followed it up with a nap. A like proper decent nap where I was like, whoa, that actually felt like I slept a real amount, which is really impressive for a regional flight. Again, very rare for a domestic, very rare even any international to have this kind of privilege, and it's really wonderful in that way, right? So big thumbs up to the Virgin Australia seat, I would say, as well as the food, as well as the service. Actually, they're really nice, as well as the cabin and the plane and
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning.
everything else.
My name's Brett, fully involved for today's.
So yeah, the overall comparison here, again, it's admittedly a little bit unfair complaining different plane types from different things, etc, etc, etc. Maybe this is really a big video about how Qantas pricing can be super unfair on routes where they have a monopoly, which admittedly is how airlines work, but regardless, you saw something really interesting here, which is the idea of like the challenger competitor versus the main one. You could see how much nicer the seats, even though there was the business element to it, but you could see how much harder they had to try as the competitor, but also you kind of saw something which I wasn't expecting, which is that full service airlines in Australia, at least, I mean Qantas at the very least, is an airline that is full service and actually does seem to try in a lot of ways that you don't see in Europe, you know, of Lufthansa and the British Airways. You don't see in America at all. Yeah, I thought that was really interesting, and maybe you did as well. So yeah, what's the verdict? I would say, I mean, like, Virgin Australia sounds like the better airline because they use the wide body planes, which are always just more fun to fly on, right? Maybe I'm crazy on that one. But yeah, it seemed as though really this just comes down to what's your exact route, which is my exact point of this video. There isn't a better airline when it comes down to Virgin Australia versus Qantas. Every single time you're picking between, you know, which airline to fly from Melbourne to Sydney, the key deciding factor shouldn't be brand loyalty, it should be price, because what does it matter if you're on a plane for that amount of time? Even the difference between, you know, like that economy and that business, like, they were both flights in the end, they both got me there. If one was literally hundreds, or, you know, in some cases many hundreds of dollars more expensive, Australian or regular, real dollars, then it would still be like, yeah, no, not going to do that again. And that's the point of this video, is that it all depends on the specifics. No matter who you are, you should want to fly, you know, business class of one airline over economy of the other, if they are the same price or one's actually cheaper. No matter who you are, you should want to fly the most direct or the easiest or whatever thing you're looking for, and then price should be the kind of determining factor after that. But yeah, with that said, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I want to dive into a quick little sponsor spot first though, because this video was sponsored by Skillshare. Maybe you spotted it earlier, but I think that's really cool. I really like this because it's like a little bit of a sign that you've made it when you get a sponsorship from someone like Skillshare. So let me tell you about Skillshare. So Skillshare is a website where you can learn new skills. Wow, that's a thing you want to do. Perhaps it's a thing you definitely want to do, because there are all sorts of important things that you don't even realize that you want to learn because you're so focused on the day-to-day, but having a place like Skillshare to go to specifically learn these things is really great. Do you want to learn about how to go viral? Of course you do. Do you want to learn about the fundamentals of DSLR photography? Do you want to learn how to be a better entrepreneur, how to edit, how to do any of these major skills that take time to learn? Skillshare splits them up into easy little course segments that make it a lot easier to learn the overall skill. And here's the best bit about Skillshare. You might be like, wow, how much is that going to cost me? Guess what? First 2 months for free for the first, yeah, if you're one of the first people to click that link down there, you can get some Skillshare Premium, and you can support the channel, because here's the cool thing about sponsorships from things like Skillshare that allows me to do this video. The cost of the flights and even this t-shirt right here is paid for with the sponsorship, so not only can you do something cool for yourself, but you can also support people you like, hopefully including myself, by at least clicking the link and maybe giving it a try. You supporting you can support me to do silly things like in this video, and isn't that a wonderful thing the internet allows us to do? Maybe you agree, maybe you don't, but either way, second channel, don't care. Goodbye.